the topic of this video, how to trust your inner guidance. That is really can sum up my intention for this whole channel. And then in even posing that question, we go right into this whole vast territory. What is guidance? How do you get guidance? How do you know that what you're following is guidance? To begin to even break this down, probably just the topic of this one video will end up being a whole series of videos. So, the first thing I think that happens when we're faced with a choice, a problem, a decision, there's this buildup of really just this discomfort around indecision. So we want to make a decision, and sometimes that can really work. You're just making a series of decisions and going with that. There is a time when that can actually work, but often really what that is impulsiveness. And when you start just following impulsiveness, the discomfort of indecision, let's go ahead, make a decision, get on with it, that is not actually, you're not really following guidance. That leads you down a completely different path. And it can just be like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this uncomfortable moment of I have no idea what to do next. So we're not talking about impulsiveness. So let's set that whole entire topic aside. So let's assume that you have some sense of I've asked for guidance. I've turned this over to some kind of power greater than myself, and lo and behold, solutions began to show up. For me, that is the breakdown of the process. I'm faced with a decision, or I'm working on a manifestation, something I am creating. Now I bundle that up, turn it over to a higher power. That is absolutely key. That is a whole other series of videos that I can do about how do I even know there is a higher power? Well, I've got a whole bunch of stories about that. And at this point, it's not something that I ever even question. I absolutely know that I am working in co-creation with the higher power. So that is the cornerstone of following guidance, because the guidance is coming from somewhere. So sorting out what that is for you, what that looks like, yeah, that's you can't move forward into following guidance without that there is a guiding force. So once you get onto that, you turn a problem over, you literally let it go. You go to revisit it and work on it in your own mind, and like, oh yeah, that's right, I turned that over. That's not mine. That a solution helps on the way. So you have to stay off of that problem and focus on other things that you can be working on. Solutions begin to appear. maybe there's like the sense that everything is flowing when I'm doing these videos about um seeing numbers, like maybe you're seeing 444 or 555, or you turn on the clock, or there's 111, or you're thinking of someone and the phone rings and it's them, and you just get on to a flow of synchronistic events. You go to do something, and it's almost as if this it's laid out for you ahead of time. Before you get there, you kind of get on to this flow of a feeling. Everything is sort of, it's like coming together in this effortless way. How do you, so now that is going, how do you get more into the groove with that? And I think there's a few different ways. What you the pleasant feelings, are almost like they're affirming that, oh yeah, okay, I'm on to something, I'm going to keep going in this direction. That can be, there's a whole lot to that too, because oftentimes um then we think, okay, if it's not a good feeling, then then it's not guidance. So guidance can come in any form, in all kinds of different forms. And oftentimes it can also be this it's almost back to that, okay, I need to make a decision about something, and this uncomfortable gnawing feeling, that is also guidance. You want to not ignore any of these things that are coming in. So I'll dive into that more in a later video. So you get on to good feelings, positive things are flowing. Write down this stuff that brings in um there's something that goes on between your brain and the pen. And when you write down things like, that these things, maybe you want to kind of ignore it and be like, oh, it was a coincidence. Start jotting those things down. That brings in more of that, and can kind of build sort of your own mental vocabulary in your mind of symbols and things that come in, like, oh yes, okay, this symbol has showed up a few times. Or um, it could be something that you went to uh, read about that really stood out, and then you went somewhere and someone said the exact thing, like, or something that you had been thinking, and then someone else says it out loud. Jot those things down. That brings more of that flowing in to your consciousness for sure. And then I want to touch on, here's another way that guidance can come. So my neighbor literally dug up all of her yucca cactus. I live in kind of the high deserty area of Colorado, and there are all these yuccas out here. She dug them all up. Probably she had her husband out there with like a little small track hoe, and dug all of these yuccas out. And I really like the yuccas. I'm kind of like, what's going on over here? And I remember her saying she feels, I talked to her one time about it. She didn't like the yuccas. They were like weeds, which there aren't that many of them. So this reminded me of when I we had a second a home in New Mexico, a small place. And oftentimes I get there and a lot of weeds have overgrown. There's a lot of yard work that has to be done. And this was like summer before last. I got there. I made a video about it. I will link to it. I got there, so some months and months will go by, and then I'll get down there to kind of deal with what's going on at this house. And um there there were like these, I guess they had been little kind of little yellow flowers. Like they were probably really nice to look at when they were little flowers, but the flowers were gone, and there were these thorny needle things that just stuck all over your clothes. And these were all over, these were everywhere. They were like, you know, partially blocking the driveway. They were literally everywhere. So this little house is on an acre, and I mean, literally, I had to weed whack these things for like 2 weeks to get everything cleared out. And so at some point in that process, it sort of dawned on me that, like, well, the first off, I had not these flowers had not been there before that I remember, and they were literally everywhere. And I thought, well, I wonder what these, first off, what are these flowers? So it took me a little while of asking around people I know to figure out what they were. And then I went on and tried to find out if anyone had made a flower essence out of these. Um, there's like these needles. I did make a video about it. And then I went to read about the flower essence, and it was literally exactly the thing that I needed. And I ordered some of that. And so that is guidance. Like, things are coming to you all the time, and they are guidance. So when I look at my neighbor who is digging out the yucca, I went to go look it up just to see what is the flower essence, since that crossed my path. And it's about being just completely overwhelmed by life. And so you maybe you're on about this thing. This thing is bugging you so much. There is guidance in that. These literal weeds that were everywhere, these little needles they were stuck in my clothes. I was still washing these things out of my socks for weeks after I got back to Colorado. There is guidance in that. It is coming in all the time. So if you want to learn more about signs and learning how to see and read your own signs and symbols, and start to pick up on energy, you can visit my website, my Patreon, and stay tuned. There's a lot more to come.